All righty. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Seated Around the House, a podcast for housing professionals brought to you by the Professional Development Committee of the Southeastern Association of Housing Officers. My name is Wesley Todd, and I will be your host and moderator for today. Today's topic is the presidential trio for CEHO. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the host and guest on this podcast are solely their own and do not reflect the views, positions, or policies of any college, university, employer, or professional association. All discussions are intended for general information, education, and dialogue. No podcast content should be considered official communication or policy guidance from any institution. Any examples discussed have been generalized, de-identified, or fictionalized to protect privacy. Participation in this podcast is voluntary, and the host reserves the right to edit recordings for clarity, privacy, and legal compliance. And with that being said, it is my honor today to have on our podcast three amazing individuals that I get to see at least once or twice a year. We are all former RELI co-chairs, and now they lead our institution from every which way, past, present, and future. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to the past, present, and president-elect for CEHO. So if you all don't mind, please take a moment to introduce yourselves. Tell us what institution you represent and your current role as a president with CEHO.
Madam President, you need to go first.
I was like, ooh, I feel like past, present, like right, past, present, and future. But yes, I will. Welcome. And thank you so much for having us, Wesley. This is really exciting for us. My name is April Barnes. I have the pleasure of serving as the AVP for University Housing at the University of South Carolina and as the current CEHO president.
Hey everyone, I'm Shannon Jordan. I am Associate Dean and Chief Housing Officer at George Mason University, and I am your CEHO past president.
Anthony White, Executive Director, University Housing, University of Tennessee at Knoxville, and the CEHO President-elect.
So for those listening and watching, we are in the throes of March Madness. I am with people that have had a really good run right now, some people that have not been present, and one in particular that had a pretty bad exit recently. You have no idea how hard I am repressing the urge to discuss this with this esteemed group. But alas, we need to stick to the work of the day. You look at their logos, you can figure out who I'm talking about. So take it from there. Go Gamecocks. So what I would like to do to get us started off is, and I will kind of call on one, and then if the other two will just popcorn a little bit, we'll go from there. So Shannon, if I may call you Shannon, Dr. Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is Shannon. Yes.
Okay. So for those listening, we've met. So describe your role as the past president for this year, and how does your role support the other two presidential roles?
Yeah, that's a great question. What's really funny about the past president role is I remember when I was the president-elect, I remember Dr. Stephanie Carter-Atkins saying that it's the best seat on the executive board. And I was like, why is that? Why is it the best seat? But I'm getting a sense of that now. The president role has a lot of work, and the president-elect role is learning a lot, and so I don't quite have that pressure. But how I see myself this year is that I'm a support to April, and we view the work that we do in CEHO as continuous. So, I didn't have my initiatives and then they're done and they, go away. There should be a thread running through all of us that, goes from what Ben did before me and Stephanie before him to all the way to what Anthony's going to do. And so I see myself as providing that continuity and that support. And sometimes as president, you need a past president to say, how did we do things? And what do you think about this? And am I off base with this? That sort of support is critical. So I see myself in that role very much. I'm also the caretaker of our Constitution. I guard our Constitution, and if there's changes, I make sure that everyone is aware how those changes need to be made. And also, I do the same thing for our leadership manual, which tells us, how to do our jobs. So I update those documents. Also, I am responsible for nominations and elections. So I get to help shoulder tap the future of our association, which I'm really excited to do this year. So that's my role as past president.
All right. Thank you. Don't make me call on someone. You know what? I am going to call on someone. I'm the host. I get that. Madam President, there is no, yes, Madam President.
Yes.
How does your role support the other two presidential roles?
Absolutely. Thank you. And I forgot that we were supposed to jump in and I was waiting to be called on. So I appreciate you calling on me. I am truly kind of a connector between past and future. And I think that this role, as Shannon was kind of talking about, is very, very busy, honestly. So I think that I get to talk with Anthony and Shannon, set agendas, make sure that initiatives are running, be the link between the past and the present or the future, and really being that present. Love that I get to continue to implement a lot of the things that Shannon started, or even Ben and Stephanie before her. It is continuous, and I think that is so vital and so important to the way our organization is run. So getting to take that, continue, run with it, and hopefully pass it off to Anthony in really, good hands, and in a good place to move things forward. But I did learn a lot through Shannon in moving agendas forward. So we as an association, and I think as a field, love to talk things. The president calls for a vote. The president says, all right, we've talked about this for the last 10 minutes. It's time to decide, make movement forward, like continue the forward movement of the organization. And I think that Shannon did that really well. And that is one of the roles of the president, is to keep things moving and keep them moving forward.
Thank you, Dr. Barnes.
In my case, Shannon already alluded to it. I get to learn. I'm learning so much, man. It's from like getting into the email, and then like responding to the email and doing all of the things that seem so simple. I'm also like trying to like navigate the fact that like this is actually happening. I think there's still that level of like, we're almost a month out and it's still like the shine is still on it, and I'm very much so excited and trying to do that. I get to work with our awards committee. And so I'm excited about that. We got our roster, and we have a lot of people doing amazing things. And so getting to recognize them for the things they're doing. I get to order food for some receptions and do some stuff like that. But I really get to work with these two. And so that's what I'm really excited about, especially with our strategic plan being in its infancy for this new one. And so like April alluded to, hopefully getting to the point of where it's a seamless transition from what she's doing into, when I get to sit in the seat and do those types of things. And so again, really just learning, really just hopefully providing perspective of someone who hasn't been in the seats that they've been in. And after a while, I think you kind of see it. So hopefully a fresh set of eyes and perspective on things.
Well, for those watching, Anthony has been on the job a total of 3 weeks. So very good for, not even being your first month in as the rookie president, as I'm going to call it for this one. So great job. So for those listening who know or don't know, CHO is what I call a very visible organization. You go a few times, and we were kind of talking about this before we got on the call. The circles that are adjacent to the circles and then the people in it. It's a visible organization, and the president is a very visible position. This is not somebody that is behind do not see the man behind the curtain. This is somebody that is very much in front of the curtain. So Anthony, if you don't mind getting us started off, why did you want to serve CHO in this capacity, being so open and available? And it demands a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word is included in what you said. It's the ability to serve. And so I've had the opportunity to start off with going to grad school and undergrad at an institution that was very involved in CHO. And so I think about the pro staff members who were there kind of leading and guiding me. And they were involved in the organization. And it was, hey, you got to go here, you got to go here. And so having the opportunity as a grad student to do that, and all of the opportunities that were afforded to me through it. And then coming back later as a professional, and we talked about Rely and all of us having the opportunity to do that. I see it being the professional home for not only myself, but other mid, upper level, and then the new professionals as well. So it's nothing like on social media or meeting people and they talk about this is my first CHO and I can't wait for the next one. Like I'm so excited. And so you see what the organization does for them. You see all of the mentors, and as you alluded to earlier, it's really it's not 6 degrees of separation. It's everyone knows everyone, and the ability at any time to reach out and get info from someone or have folks help people as we navigate through the things that we're going through. It's it's the Rely magic, it's the CHO magic, and we use that when we can't really put into words the effect that we feel by being in that space. But having the ability to create that for other people, like you can't beat it. Like there's nothing like it. And having done it through Rely or having done it through other opportunities, mentorship, presenting at programs. And so to do it at this level is really, really important for me. And so I'm really excited about it. I think the opportunity we're all different. And so I think for a lot of people, if I can do it, then they can do it as well. Like if I can be president, you can. Like trust and believe. Like I'm not doing anything special or different. But I think that since, getting elected, hearing people say that, I'm so excited about, either whatever, I'm an introverted leader. And so seeing some folks who see that, being a male or a person of color and different things. And so representing on those fronts, it's just amazing. And so I'm really excited. And then the icing on the cake is that I get to work with these two amazing people who I've known and have developed great friendships and have a mutual respect for. So it's a win-win for me, and I'm really excited about it.
So I don't know how either of y'all are going to follow that because that was gold that was just put
That was
down
good.
there. That was good. So
Very good.
uh, for whoever feels led to jump in after that, why did you want to serve CHO in this capacity?
Well, so my first CHO was the 50th celebration in Louisville.
Louisville, Kentucky.
It
Yes.
was. And I remember thinking, oh, and I remember seeing, I think it was Tim Blair that was the president that year. And I think if my CHO history is right and my memory is right, but anyhow, I remember like looking up at the stage and seeing like what the president was doing at that time. I'm like, holy cow, how scared must he be? Like, I remember having like those nerves and thinking like, what would propel anyone to do this? Like, this is a lot. Like, there's a lot of people in this room, and I didn't even know everything that the CHO president did, and I was coming from a different region, which was really different. And as time built, I got more and more connected to the association, and so Anthony's thought about service to the association that gave so much to you, that's really true for me. I've gotten so much from this association, and sometimes when somebody taps you on the shoulder to lead, you need to listen because somebody sees that in you. And sometimes I think we all have this problem like, oh, we can't do it, or this person did it, and that means I definitely can't do it because I'm nothing like them, or whatever excuses that we put in the way for ourselves. But this saying like, if not you, who? That really stood out to me because I'm not a baby in the profession anymore. I am leading a department. Why couldn't I lead our association? And again, like there's all the, imposter syndrome things that we say to ourselves and we can't. But, when I was tapped, I was like, yeah, like let's give this a shot. This organization has done so much for me. And then there's always the thought of, I'm probably not going to win anyways. So my fear is for nothing. And then when you get the call, you're like, oh, okay, I got to do this thing. And that's, when, and it's scary, and then in the time, and Anthony, you probably remember this, like you're sitting at the business meeting and and not everybody knows, and everybody's going to say your name, and then all eyes go on you. That's scary, and there's a lot of expectation to that. But actually, like when you start to get into the role and you really see what the service is about and what you're advancing and how you can help people become more connected to our profession, because that's really like what I got out of it is I can help people find a home someplace, because that home isn't necessarily always on their campuses, and CEHO is that place for them. That made it all worth it. And also it's a little bit of professional development too. I think if you ask any president and they ask why, you know, I'm looking for opportunities to grow my skills. I'm looking for a place, for me to test the boundaries of what I could do. And this is one of those opportunities as well. So all those reasons together for me.
I think that was amazing as well. Like gold, we're just hearing gold today. And I don't know that I can add much more. I think that it is all of those pieces of how can I serve? I really want to give back to an organization that made me feel like I belonged somewhere, that understood me, that helped me to grow. I think that there are so many people who invested in me along the journey. I think that the conferences helped me gain skills that I would not gained anywhere else. The interactions that I've had on committees have built my circle. The professional development opportunities I've had on exec board, and again, through committee work, through RELI, helped me grow other people. Like, I think that is something that it's that you're climbing a mountain and someone helps you. So you're going to reach behind and help the next person. And I think that is something that really resonates with me. And it really is an opportunity to give back and to help an organization that I love continue to thrive. CEHO is absolutely made up of the volunteers, and the time that they give, the love that they give. Like, we are bouncing that off of each other. And I think that's why we continue to thrive and continue to grow. And I love Shannon's statement, if not you, then who, right? And so being able to dive in with both feet, and thinking, okay, I have great people surrounding me who are going to support and really kind of push through some of the pieces. It really lets us set the tone for the association. And I think that's really powerful, and it really does excite me. And I'm so happy that Shannon and Anthony are here to do that with me. So it's very fun.
I so appreciate the fact that you three talk about service. I think about the lens in which I've gotten to work with each of you, either through RELI or being your MC or RELI or whatever that has been. I always think about when you get in these spaces and you see people that have been in the field. Chin, you kind of talked about this 20, 30 years, and it's like, I can't follow a path that they've set. I can't. It's really easy to get into that FOMO. And I think a lot of our entry level professionals are in that mindset that you go into this and you have to be at a certain level. You have to have a mastery. You can't make mistakes. And I think anybody, and I think you three could explain it just as good as anybody else, that is so far from the case. And I think about some of the best works I've done in CEHO and that I've seen from you others and others that are in the organization have been because of ways that things have not worked, and being transparent and vulnerable about that. So I really appreciate y'all talking about that and sharing that with whoever may be listening out there. So I'd like to go on to our next question. And a couple of you have already alluded to this. And Dr. April Barnes, we will start with you on this one. For someone that aspires to be a future CEHO president, what can they get involved with now to build a portfolio that would make them a good candidate for the role?
Ooh, I love that question. I don't think there's a certain path. So I don't think, like, I know that my entry into the professional and into housing, it made a lot of twists and turns that I did not anticipate, but that I was open to. And B, probably doesn't look like anyone else's. And I think a lot of us have journeys like that. And I think volunteering for this organization is a lot like that. Show up, do good work, do the things you say you're going to do. But I don't think there's necessarily a certain path that you need to do in order to sit in this seat. I think it is about being willing to share your skills and to give back. So that service piece is definitely something that you need to be willing to give. You need to give your time and effort. I was joking with Shannon before, but I'm pretty sure that I worked every weekend leading up to CEHO, because like that is just what it took to stay on top of things. And that was not just CEHO, it was my home campus too. And so what are you willing to give, and what does that look like? And that's different at every single stage. I do think it was very, very helpful for me to serve on committees. I did a lot of different committee work, and so I was very familiar with a variety of committees. And so that was really good to be able to kind of have an overall understanding of what a lot of the pieces of the puzzle. I remember serving my first time on exec board and was like, oh, this is what happens. Like that. Okay, I'm starting to get it. The puzzle is coming together. I understand what the cadence is and what that is. And so that was really helpful to be able to see kind of the larger scope and see how the different exec board members, what they brought to the table and their lenses and what they were supposed to do. Reading the leadership manual, it could be just as easy as that. Like, are you reading some of the documents of CEHO? But really, truly, just go and do something that you enjoy. There is something for everyone at CEHO. There really is. I've done the corporate partners committee and the program committee. I did research when it was the research committee, host committee. There are so many opportunities that if you want to get involved, it's really about just diving in and joining a committee, getting your feet wet, volunteering if there's subcommittee opportunities. The first time I went, one of our Relay co-chairs is because I was like, oh, I'll do something. And he's like, well, let me chat with you about what you would like to do. And we had this whole conversation and that built the network, it helped solidify, oh, hey, this is something I want to do. And that sounds really fun. Let me give my time and effort into that area kind of thing. And so again, I don't think there's a certain path, but I did enjoy getting to have a broader understanding of what CEHO was that I don't think I knew when I was, at my first CEHO conference. I didn't get to see some of the magic behind the curtain until I started to get involved.
Thank you, April. Anthony?
I agree. I think experience is the best teacher, like we talked about earlier. So I think putting yourself out there, allowing yourself to have those experiences. Also think it's important to note that nobody's perfect. And so like, you don't have to be. I think we learn as much, if not more, from our mistakes than when things go well. And so again, I think allowing people to see how you handle those missteps or those mistakes, because those things happen, and how you twist and adjust to those. I think it's important to have a balance of things that you really like, but also taking opportunities to grow and stretch yourself. So kind of like Shannon was talking about, when you get tapped for some of those things, it may not be what you feel like is right up your lane or you're comfortable with. So serving in those capacities, I think all of us could talk about a committee that's not necessarily what we do, or, at work, it would be, no offense, but it would be like facilities or stepping outside of the res life realm into that space. But that's where you grow, and it could be a passion, or it could be an area where you're really skilled at. And so I think that helps. I have a broad experience again when it comes to CEHO. A lot of it was with Rely, and so having the opportunity to be there. April talked about committees and serving on some of those. The research committee that was there in the past, that's not there anymore. I tend to be, some people would say nerd. I call it a lifelong learner, and so a lot of my Pro Devo stuff has been with Jay Cush. So reviewing, for that, not necessarily CEHO, but it related to like the CEHO report. And so, oh, this is a correlation there. So finding those things that really fill your bucket and allow you to network and meet those people. And so much of of being involved in working with CEO is who you know and what people know of you. And so I will say that no matter what it is you do your best, because that professional reputation speaks for you and will afford you other opportunities regardless of what they look like in CEO.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I completely echo everything they said. I mean, I'm trying to think of like how I can add to it and what I can say that's different. I think one request that like I heard a lot during last year, especially as we were crafting our strategic plan, was like we need to tell people like what is the path through leadership. Like there was a lot of discussions about that, like laying out a curriculum. And there's even something to that tone in our new strategic plan. And like and I get that people want that, but like I struggle with it at the same time because you can't be too prescriptive because then like what you create is like a funnel, like our field, because there's, for instance, there's a lot of entry level professionals and even less assistant directors and even less associate directors. And then there's only one director. And so I don't necessarily want us to create this funnel where people have to follow this certain prescription and then you can do it. Um, I think, I mean, I think about myself. I was never on executive board before I became president elect. And I felt kind of self-conscious about that at first. But then I thought, no, like Anthony said, like I've had these other experiences and I've given my all in those other experiences. And those are still leadership experiences. So I think, if your desire is to serve this association or a different association, just show that you're an honest person, you're a trustworthy person, you're a team-oriented person, you're a person who follows up, does good work. You don't need, I mean, what's really hard about this association is that we're all volunteers and we all have paying jobs. And it's hard to make that time sometimes to do a good job. But if you show that you do that, like that, to me, that's the express lane ticket, is your reputation and what you've done with the other things that you've been involved in. And so for me, that's the path. And you never know when you're going to be tapped. And sometimes, you might get tapped and you might have to say no because of whatever else is going on in your life. I remember I was tapped to run for president my first year that I was at Mason. I'm like, there's no way I can take this on. I got to learn this job. But then a couple of years later, it became right. And so there's this perfect storm that happens between you get the encouragement, you're ready, you feel like you've done a good job at some things. So yeah, I would say that's the path.
But I
Well,
echo Shannon. I'm sorry, Wesley.
no, you're good. This is
And
y'all's podcast. I'm just here to moderate.
and a lot of
Please
ways
go
of
ahead.
what you said, Shannon, about the not being on exec or those different things. And I think like timelines are different. And so again, like Shannon and I know for sure that we haven't spent our whole career in CHO. And so I was like in CHO for grad school. I went to another region for an extended period of time. And then I came back and I got busy trying to do stuff. And so my timeline didn't line up to where like, oh, I will be here and do this and on this committee and matriculate through all of them. But it was like, again, the things that I did do, I tried to let folks know that I was dependable, that this was my work ethic. If I'm on it, I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And so making the most of those opportunities and being present wherever I am, whatever it is that I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think in order to be president, I have to do this, or I have to have that, or I have to have this credential. And you can still even feel that way now, like, okay, cool, I've been elected. Like they clearly trust me to do this, but I think there's still, you battle with those, internal things like we talked about before, with the imposter syndrome or different stuff like that, that sometimes it's just best to get out your way and put yourself in an opportunity to take advantage. And just put yourself out there. If you don't, you'll never know.
Yep.
I think that there's also, along with the willingness, a willingness to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of guts to kind of run for a position. And I lost a lot of elections, if I'm being honest with you, but wasn't necessarily like, I remember the first election I lost, actually was my first opportunity to get on e-board. And they called 5 months later and they were like, oh, hey, the person who was in the position had to leave to go to something else in the region. and is not in housing anymore. Are you interested? Yeah, I'm interested. Put me in, coach. Like really, truly kind of that, oh, hey, you lost this other election. What about this? Maybe I should go and apply for this really quick. And so being willing to kind of step outside what maybe your thought process was. I think Shannon's example of, oh, wait, this isn't necessarily the time, but how can I still contribute? So even if it isn't the time for this, what else could I do to contribute? Got an opportunity to work on the corporate partners committee, securing sponsorship, something that I've never done before, outside of my comfort zone, just a little bit, like Anthony was saying, those things that kind of help stretch you. And I've been able to utilize that in my current position at South Carolina. So I think that it's those kinds of opportunities to be like, yes, put me in, coach. I will do whatever CHO needs me to do to, help the organization move forward and advance.
I appreciate what y'all said about do something you enjoy. And Anthony, what you said about being a lifelong learner, particularly the word nerd.
Love it.
For those listening, April Barnes is one of my best friends ever. My first impression of her, which I recently told her after CHO, did not lead us to a path to be my best friend, but we're best friends now. That's what matters. She was very much the nerd that I would associate because the first time I met Anthony, I met April Barnes for a second time. He was the co-chair for Rely, and she was doing assessment. And I'll never forget what she said. She's like, I'm going to teach people that assessment is sexy. And I was like, she's the mom that goes to the kids' school dance and embarrasses her children in front of the entire school. That's who she is right there. Spoiler alert, she may be her friend, but I digress. But core memory unlocked. But I appreciate you three talking about being, team oriented and authentic, and truly, somehow you end up where you need to be when you need to be there. It just sometimes isn't on your schedule. So,
yeah.
I'm going to start with our rookie president for this one. What is the legacy you desire to leave behind for this organization once you have completed your presidential roles?
So cliche. I want to leave CHO better than I found it, or like something along those lines. But really, an opportunity, kind of alluded to it earlier for folks to see themselves in CHO and for CHO to be a home and for it to be accessible, for it to be a space where people come and not necessarily just a conference, but can be a resource and people get what they need. I think that I want to be myself. I don't want to, I want to be Anthony. I'm the same person that I've always been. And I think that's important for me. I really want people to say, man, if he can do that, I can do that. And I think that's important. I think it's important that the president continues to be visible. Everybody before me has been, like, you see them out and about and with the people, and we're real tangible people. And like, I think that's the beauty of the organization. It's not like you're up on something. I mean, you kind of sit up on the day, so you're a little raised and higher, but you know what I'm saying? You're the same person that you've always been. You're a member of CHO. Again, I talked about the strategic plan earlier. I really want that to be a living, breathing document versus something that we pay some people a bunch of money to help us do, and it just sits there. And so I want to be an active embodiment of that. I want the organization to be an active embodiment of that, and for folks to see themselves in that.
Who's next?
I'll go. I want our current president to talk about her legacy, but I think for me, I again agree with Anthony about being myself and being ourselves. For me, I've always been a doer, a driver, let's get ish done. That is my personality, very much so. And so I want my legacy to be like, well, dang, like Shannon got a lot accomplished during her presidential year. And so I want that legacy to be the things that because the association presented opportunities. So it wasn't like my ideas, like these things weren't my ideas, like these things just fell during my presidential year. So our new strategic plan, I remember thinking, I was like, dang, I was like, I have to get a new strategic plan going. I was like, that sucks because I, as much as I want to say that like I'm a learner and a nerd, I'm really not. And I hate saying that, but I'm not. I just want to be like, okay, like how do we do this? Like let's make a plan. Let's go. Like let's like stop sitting on our hands and let's move. And so for me, that's it. Like, and the other opportunity was this mid-level summit stuff. This was started from membership feedback. Like, what do we do to support mid-level folks? And then I remember when I was president-elect, we were talking about it in our summer e-board meeting, and it just kind of like coalesced and it happened. And I was like, all right, like, let's put this into action. Like, let's go, let's do it. So I want that to be my legacy. And I want my legacy to also be that CEHO really is for everyone. And the click, like that is always like that was just it, and it's still a narrative, but like I really, really heard it a lot, during my president-elect year about, the CEHO click and getting more people involved. Like I feel like sometimes like you just got to come out and call it out. And I feel like we were afraid to call it out. And so I remember I was really afraid to say a line about it when I gave my speech. When we were when I was coming in as president, but I said like, but if you don't name it, like it's going to stay hidden. And so I wanted to name it, and I wanted to emphasize to people like you belong here, and everybody else has a role to make sure that you belong. So yeah, so I would say those things for my legacy.
I love that. I want to echo a lot of those same sentiments. First, I don't want to screw it up. That is like number one. Like, please don't let me be the person who really messes up something that I love so much. Like, oh my heavens. But listen, I have Shannon and Anthony bookending me. It's gonna be fine.
You're not going to screw it up. You're going to be
We're
good.
gonna be okay. Was really excited when I was tapped on to run for president because I knew that this was going to be the first year that we implement the strategic plan. So not only did I get to see it kind of be created and get to be part of those discussions, but really get to implement it and pick something. I mean, our plan is so CEHO. It's investing in people and connections. Like that is absolutely what we do. So how are we investing in people? How are we connecting them? How are we growing the table? How are we helping everyone find a place where they belong? And it really takes membership to make room, like, right? Like, so how are we encouraging people to, stop some of the cliquish behavior and whatnot, but make room at the table? How are we investing in newcomers? How are we investing in getting people onto committees and not necessarily just certain people and certain names? And I think that we have been committed to that for a few different years. I know Wesley, you and I did that with Rely. We didn't want to know some of the names that we were inviting in and different pieces like that. And so I definitely want to see that continue to grow because I really do think there are so many people in our region that have value and would be so great to really push the association forward. Like so many talents, so many skills, so many ideas, and we should be tapping on all of them. And how does that work? And so really making room at the table and making the table bigger for people who are coming in and wanting to find a seat. I think that continuing on, I really want one of the legacies of this presidential trio to be like, ooh, we barely even noticed the transition. Like, yes, we are all individuals. We are true to ourselves. I'm never going to be able to lead a meeting like Shannon, but it will get led, like, right? And I think just being able to say, ooh, we provided a lot of stability and continuity while implementing a strategic plan, while doing new initiatives. I think that that's an awesome legacy. And so I really hope that that continues. I think that there are some initiatives that are really cool. Like, how are we getting our corporate partners? How are we treating them as partners and getting them involved all year? And what does that opportunity look like? Again, the mid-level summit, very excited about that and seeing where that goes. And then really, truly, how are we diving into the strategic planning and coming out with some very kind of firm goals of what we are going to accomplish this year What are the committee charges? What are they working on? So pushing that agenda forward, making sure that we're continuing to do things and being able to look back and say, oh, hey, we got a lot done this year. And I'm very excited about that, especially when you look back on like 3 years, like your presidential cycle is three. Like, I really think that we are moving our association forward, and helping people find that place where they not only belong, but I know it, and again, cliche, but they have a home. Like the CEO can be your home, a place where you feel safe, a place where you feel seen and valued, and a place where you are learning and growing. And I think that if we can continue that feel, that we are doing a lot of good things, and that's enough of a legacy. It's kind of exciting.
Awesome. I do need to give Shannon some props here. I am not a nerd either, so I feel seen. And
And I
you
don't mean that like I'm like,
no
ooh, so cool. Like
no
I don't
no
mean it that way.
I get it because one of my favorite nerds reports to you directly. And I think the thing that my work would be lost without the people that do put value in this. And I make fun of April, and you know that assessment is sexy. You got to do the shoulder lean when you do it because that's how she did it. Assessment, but truly it is. And I really, to go back to the previous one, do what you're good at because those are the things that enrich and give you. You know, I know a lot of our entry levels talk about I need to be visible. I need to do what you do well, and those things will come in time. And that's Shannon, to your point, to others, you know, I think about when I've worked with this group or others, you know, that shoulder tap, you either get tapped to do something that you are good at, or you get tapped to do something that maybe you don't think you are, but people see something in you
Yep.
that is there. I know for me personally, in my journey through CHO and how I've interacted with you three and others, I've seen it all. I've been a part of both ends. And what I would say to the entry level people listening to this, and to Shannon's point about the click, if somebody's tapping you on the shoulder, take that as a sign that somebody is trying to bring you into something that, whether you realize it or not, you're very capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And those things that you may not see a why as to why you're doing this, I would challenge you to look beyond the obvious to what it could do for you in the future. So thank y'all for showing.
And Wesley, if I could add on to that like, really quick,
Absolutely.
like also sometimes in CHO and just like in life, you're gonna hear no. And there's people who we all have gotten no's, like no, you know, for whether it's executive board, whether it's a committee chair, whether it's whatever you put your name out there for, like don't take that as, you know, that's CHO isn't meant for you or whatever. Like it's just you need to find a different avenue and your skills need to find a different your skills will find a different place. So it's a lot of that preparation meets opportunity and those things need to come together. So I just want to say, like, don't get discouraged with CHO if the door closes sometimes. Eventually an opportunity will present itself.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. And that is speaking from experience, y'all. That's absolutely true.
Mhm.
Before we get into the super secret question that has been shared, I want to bring some, not that we haven't had levity. I feel like I've had lots of levity in this conversation, but I would like to ask the three of you, tell me or tell our listeners your favorite CHO fun memory. It could be from any CHO, it could be from any point of your career. You know, I think about fun things that I've done with people that I know, people I didn't know a day in my life before that moment. But, you know, as we call it, one of those core memories that when you think about CHO and, you know, the fun that you have in the networks, just share a brief one.
It's easy for me. It was my first CHO. It was a long time ago, and it was in Baton Rouge, ironically. And so it was during Mardi Gras, and CHO provided a bus from Baton Rouge to New Orleans for us to go and experience Mardi Gras. And it was a experience. And
And they
so
got turned up.
I mean, there were great sessions. There was lots of networking that took place at the convention center and on Bourbon Street. So it was yeah, that will always stand out. Again, it was my first
Oh,
one.
God.
And so I thought all of them should be like that. Clearly they weren't. But yeah, that will always. And then again, like I said, we're going back for the first time now this year, and that'll be where I'll get to get on stage and do a little whole speech thing. And so like that, it's just really, really cool.
That's cool. That'll be a full circle for sure.
I know, exactly.
That's really cool.
I was not ready for Shannon to say turn up.
Turn
That
up.
I lost my
No, it's just
breath
funny.
on
Like
that one.
Anthony's talking about my favorite CO memory is Mardi Gras. Like,
Hey, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I was debating between two. I mean, I think the overall like best memory is when I was Reli faculty. And I was very lucky to be a part of 4 Relis, and I just had so much fun. Like just I remember laughing with faculty like in our like nightly like huddles. Like I mean, you're just so tired, especially like at the end of the week. And I mean, it's just it's just fun. And that's just the stuff that like a lot of my CHO memories are built on, is that. But and I know people talk about this in a mystical way, but one of my favorite CHO memories is when I was asked to be a WOHO. And I remember getting the email and then going to like my first WOHO gathering. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, these amazing women. It was scary and very humbling. But it was just so cool. And just what the WOHOs are about. And I know that like, sometimes like we poke fun and, all of that sort of stuff about, oh, it's the secret, it's the secret group. It's like women lifting, women up. Like that's really like what it's about. And it was just great to have, to see that in practice. So yeah, those are my top memories.
Love it. All right. I have like like for real one, and then I have kind of a crazy one. But I think my for real one two have stuck out to me at this point, and it's both about people. Like, so of course, I love the people of CHO. I love how welcoming they are. I love how much they have invested in me and helped me to grow and really welcomed me in a space that I just didn't know if it was for me or not. And so I think that has kind of been like the feeling that reunion, that homecoming has really been something that is very special to me. And speaking of Reli, like that, oh my gosh, it's such a wonderful thing to give your time to. Like it is so impactful, and it really is just it's a transformation like that our participants experience, our faculty members participate. But there was a moment, I think in Huntsville, I think it was in Huntsville, I'm not quite sure, but there were so many Reli past co-chairs. And we have a picture of it, and it was just this like link to all these incredible people who I have so much love and respect for, who have given to the profession in just such like to visually see that link across just a number of people was so powerful to me. The same thing kind of happened this year when I got to join like the president's picture. Like it's like, oh my heavens, like you're part of this legacy of the organization in giving back. And those are just two examples of like the link that connects us. And it was just a very visual representation of the connection of CHO and people who have given their time, who I just really respect. It was just a very, very cool opportunity and memory for me. The crazy one is my first CHO was at the Grove Park Inn in Asheville. And we went back there, and it kind of full circle moment for me. I was on the host committee, and we got there early. And as part of like the fun of being on the host committee, we got to stay in the old, like the original hotel. And I'm like, no way, like, no,
Haunted.
like for real, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you know this about me. I do not watch scary movies. I don't do scary. I just don't do it. Like it's too real for me. I can't do it. Straight up, first night, maybe it was the second night. First night I was there. We'll just say first night. I wake up to like my covers being like pulled off, like, right? Like you wake up, like, and I'm not even joking. This truly happened. And I was like, straight up, I am not like, Could not. It was 3 a.m. I got up and I watched Disney movies for the rest of the night.
Are you
All
sure
the
you
lights
just
were
weren't hot
on.
and you kicked the covers off,
Listen,
April?
no,
You
no,
saw that being pulled
no.
off.
Not soft, felt like they were being
That's
like
some Ghostbuster stuff. Come on.
I am telling you, I did some research. That is for little, there's a ghost there for real. And that was one of the things.
People told me
no,
that was haunted. It was
no,
haunted. I remember like
no.
all the stories. Yeah.
As soon as people I knew came, I stayed in another room. Like that is that. They're like, oh no, it's a special treat. No, it's not. No,
Were
it's
the
not.
Disney movies supposed to protect you?
Thank you, Anthony.
It's like
They
I'm
did.
in the same
Thank
room,
you,
but
Anthony.
I'm just gonna
They
watch
did.
Right out
TV.
of my mouth.
All the lights are on. I couldn't go outside
Oh,
because
Lord.
what if the ghost had gone outside? Like I couldn't even go to like knock on another door.
The
Like,
the mountain bears would have got you if you went outside in the middle of the night.
like what do? You turn on Disney movies. You get the vibes going of happiness and joy. Yes, no. That was also a very memorable
Oh,
moment.
boy.
Crazy. There you go.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I know. There you
Oh,
go.
and it's the end of the day, and I'm getting a good belly laugh for this, and I'm not even getting paid for this, and this is so worth it. So, oh
Well,
my
what I think
gosh.
is that we have a spoiler. So when we announce the 2029 and 2030 host sites, because April Barnes president, you can pretty much count Asheville out of the picture. Like this haunting, the decision will not be made to go back to Asheville as long as
Ever.
April Barnes is president. So
Ever. Listen, I was like, no way.
Yeah.
No. No.
Well, having shared an apartment with April Barnes for a week at Relay, I'm surprised she sleeps at all because she wants to talk to you at midnight after you've had a long day. I'm sorry, I'm projecting, and this is a professional podcast. We can unpack that in a different forum. So, woo. All right. So the super secret question that I've been guarding was actually shared with me by our chair select for the professional development committee, Jocelyn. And kind of looking at this, CEHO is very unique. When you look at the southeastern United States, in terms of our universities, private, public, urban, rural. Northern Virginia is very different from Columbia, South Carolina, very different from Knoxville, Tennessee, very different than Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So this one's, you may want to think for a minute, so I'm not going to assign this to anybody, just as you feel led. How do you vision set for an organization encompassing multiple states, generational members, and so on? How do you figure out what to value the most in the tone you set for the organization?
Will you bring in Brailsford and Dunleavy and do listening sessions during an annual conference? No, sorry, I just had to say that. But because that's what we did because of this problem that you're highlighting. It's like the region is so diverse. And sometimes like, you hear something from like one school or one member and you're like, okay, yeah, like I'm down with that. And then you hear a whole different set of problems. And it's a lot to take in, and we really did need the outside help like synthesizing that for our strategic plan. But I think outside of that, you really it's as simple as being present and listening and realizing that there's not going to be one truth that is or decision that you're going to make that's going to make everybody happy. That will not happen because there is not one truth. There is not one way to do things. And I think we just need to continue to provide the format for people to present what they're doing, and then people can find the like schools, the like places, the like leaders to model what they're doing after.
Value the people. And I think that is what CEHO has done and why it has been so popular, why the numbers continue to balloon. You got a conference where you think about the amount of meals that you get and the cost that you pay for the experience. So as Shannon said, come and have the opportunities to engage in those different things, regardless of where you're from and what your viewpoint is. That I mean, the slate, the programming committee sits there and goes back and forth to try to get as diverse of a slate as possible to go through that. But it's you value the people who work at home at their home institutions, valuing people. And I think that you show them that. I think that you allow them to feel that, and people, that's what's happening. And so why people are showing up and doing it. So again, at the core of the work that we do, that's what you try to do and make them feel at home again. Like we've talked about, this is professional home for so many people who go to other conferences, but it's nothing like CHO. I may go to blank conference or this conference or that one, but it's nothing like CHO because people refer to it as a family reunion. They refer to it as like I'm on vacation. This is my
Homecoming.
opportunity. Homecoming, I'm recharging, I'm getting my bucket filled, all of those
Yeah.
things that people allude to of the work is happening and they feel valued. And so again, I think that is the most important part is you continue to value the people. And then the differences are always going to be there. And that again, if you look at it from the perspective of like, how fortunate are we to be able to have this melting pot of ideas and people and culture from all across the Southeast to come in and learn from them and see the things that are happening in a lot of ways they follow or piggyback off of each other. So, man, this is happening in Florida. Like, okay, cool. I can connect and talk to them so that I'm prepared when it happens in Tennessee or vice versa or those different things. So, again, it can be a negative and it is at times, but also looking at the positive of it as well and trying to utilize that again to serve the people.
I love that. And I would kind of add to that is getting to know people. So we're not going to know what people are dealing with until we actually get to know the people. And so that investing in people, valuing people, and then providing space to connect. So I think CHO does a great job, and our program committee does a great job giving opportunities to small schools, large schools, having operational sessions, facility sessions, res life sessions, and a place where you can explore different things and be able to kind of take different pieces back. So really kind of investing in that knowledges and the practices. You can find anything really, truly at CHO. Like I really think you can. So if you're having a problem or you're, thinking about something, you can go to a session or you can talk to somebody who's doing that. So being able to kind of value everyone's experience and the differences that they do bring. I love Anthony's example. It's a melting pot. It's everybody. It's everything. And so how can you kind of, it's almost like a buffet. What pieces are you going to take and put on your plate? Because there's so many different opportunities out there that we are going to continue to kind of grow and build. And I think that as you kind of empower people to do that, I think that that is something that CHO does a really good job of, okay, so take this knowledge and all of these connections we're giving you and then go forth and do and see what works on your campus and then report back. Like, tell us what worked, tell us what didn't work. You can do the next session. You can put that in as a program presentation next year to tell us, did it work, did it not? And so I think that our work continually evolves, and it's a lot of the work that we're doing on our campuses. And so to have that in an organization that really supports you is just, again, I just love CHO. It's really awesome.
Well, thank y'all. I know that was a complex and long question, but I think y'all knocked it out the park with how you answered it. For those that aren't listening, as the non-president just moderating this, I speak with a lot of sincerity when I look at these three and I think about ways that if you are an entry level or maybe somebody that has been around and has not gotten connected yet, and I don't think I'm going to say anything that these three will, be like, no, talk to these people when you see them in person.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
Please do.
Even not in person, reach out now.
Yeah. Reach out. I think about the first interactions I had with these three, and I think about Anthony, and I probably never said this out loud, so I'm glad I get to say it now. Anthony got me on a track with Rely when he was coach here and selected me along with Stephanie Carter-Atkins to be faculty for facilities. And I was scared. I know in CHO, people see me and I'm this very animated person that get in there. But to say that I was not terrified, I would be a liar because you are really putting yourself out there, especially to a very impressionable group of young professionals.
Yes.
But, Anthony, I thank you for that because now, the interactions that we've had, and now I get to interview you on this podcast, which I just think is so amazing. So I appreciate those opportunities. And when, as you said earlier, all three of you, people shoulder tapping you and seeing you in spaces, when you have these interactions, and I've never felt like I could not go and talk to anybody, no matter if they were a senior housing officer, vice president, or whatever, that is that family mentality you talked about, Anthony. The one I probably know the least on this is Shannon, but I got a shoulder tap a week before CO in Winston-Salem to MC the closing event. And when I brought the golden jacket, I meant business, and I think
Yeah.
she knew that
See,
as well.
I can spot another non-nerd like that. That's how I knew to ask you. That's how I knew.
And again, I've been around a minute, and the young people know me, but as much fun as I knew I was going to have, I was like, oh my God, I gotta do this, and it's never been done. So when you see people do that, the confidence sometimes is already there because they're confident in you. So Shannon, thank you for that. And then April Barnes, she just got sat next to me at a Southwest dinner in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the rest is history, y'all. But I'm not going to say much and I'm covering her on my screen. April Barnes has a way to make me cry like I'm 5 years old and somebody stole my candy at Halloween. I don't know what it is. I used to be hard on the inside, y'all. But then I met April, and it's just like nougat in here. I went from a solid candy bar to a Milky Way, and I blame that on April Barnes. So, before we conclude this, and I've enjoyed the laughs, thank you all so much for your time and for giving us this space today. Is there anything you would like to leave our listeners with before we close out this podcast?
Ooh.
Ooh. I would say get involved. Get involved. We need you. We need you. There is a space for you. There's a space for you to find whatever you are looking for. If it's mentors, if it's connection and colleagues, if it is leadership opportunities or professional development, there is a space, and we have what you need, and we want you. Like, we really, truly, we value people, and that's how we run. Like, we run on good people, and people giving their time and talents. And so please get engaged, get involved. And any of us on this call, including our, illustrious lead for the podcast, would be willing to help you find something that you could be involved in. So please get involved.
Yeah, it's funny,
Well
Wesley.
said.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Shannon.
No, I was just saying, well said, April. Yeah, go ahead.
I think about Wesley and the facilities thing and the way that he said slab on grade in his presentation, and I'll never forget that with his accent. It was priceless. You reminded me of that, so I appreciate that. To echo the sentiments, get involved. I think it's amazing. And if what you're looking for isn't there, you can create it. I know that Shannon alluded to the WOHOs. There's King's Collective, which was created, and people just are creating groups if a group isn't there for you. It's a great opportunity. It can be whatever you want it to be. They're wonderful people. It's the best. So yeah, go see.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say, like, I know that, like, over the past, really since COVID, our profession has struggled, and we're worried about the pipeline. I would say, like, this past year has really proven to me that our profession is not in trouble. There are so many talented people out there, like all of you that are listening to this. Like, there is a home for you in this profession. This profession is so rewarding because of connections like this. I didn't think that I would ever have this in a job, and I've gained these sort of friends through my job. Like, I just didn't think that, and CHO facilitates that. And so, whatever you do in this association, even if you just come to our conference like once a year, like, use it for the amazing people. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I want people to take away. Like, whatever you want CHO to be for you, it can be that. So we're just glad that you're here, that you're involved, and that you're a part of the future of our profession. So yeah, that's I think what I'll leave the people with.
Love that.
I love that. Leave the people with. Oh my gosh.
Because some people don't want to be involved, so it's just like, I want to go and I want to learn a few things and then do my job, and that's cool.
Thank you, Shannon, for that. Well, I can honestly say it has been my honor and such a delight to get to spend my afternoon with these three recording this podcast. So thank you, three, and to the broader community listening, thank you for your time. We hope you enjoyed this recording, and until next time, we'll talk to you later, everyone.